Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name's Mike Amos. His name is Forrest Lee. And it is a Monday in Troy, Alabama. We're coming to you live on Facebook this morning, across the nation, across the world on Facebook. If you got friends out in California or wherever, ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from them this morning and talk to everybody about what's going on. Cold, icy conditions out there if you live in Troy, Alabama. How about that?
My windshield was frozen over this morning.
What'd you do?
Well, it was not too bad. I just sat in the truck till it heated up.
That's what I did too. I did a lot better this morning than I did the other morning. Good morning, y'all. Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, morning.
Good morning, Michael.
Who you are and where are you calling from, please, sir?
My name's Michael Roy Amos, R-O-Y.
You take great pride in not having my whole name, don't you?
From Great Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful down here after raining for about 4 days in a row.
Well, I was down there, of course, for the most of the week, and yesterday afternoon was as pretty as you're going to get. It was beautiful, and of course, enjoyed a nice little vacation time. I reckon that's what you'd call it, or I don't know if it was vacation time or not. I did what I would have done if I'd been here that would watch football. And,
you and Mom are kind of like snowbirds down there. A bunch of elderly people down there this time of year.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you one thing. It was beautiful weather this morning. I tell you this, if you're in ladies and gentlemen, and I will recommend this, if you're heading east on the bypass in Troy, you better beware of that unbelievable sun. That sun will blind you and could kill you if you don't watch it. I'm telling you, you've got to be careful. I saw two cars that did not have their lights on and coming from the east, and that sun was in my face, and I promise you, I had to be real careful.
It's terrible. You got to know where to put your head and go slow and hope others are paying attention.
Where are you talking about? Like coming down the hill from Sisters or something?
Yeah, or coming anywhere east on the bypass in Troy. If I reckon you could call it south or east, but the sun comes from the east. Isn't that right?
Yes.
It comes out of the east, and it is strong. And the same thing goes in the afternoon, too, if you're going west. I mean, Troy has two huge sunsets, and you better be careful when you go through any one of them, especially this one in the morning. It will blind you, and there's a lot of traffic, and it could cause an accident, no question about it. Forrest Lee's here, and, of course, we got a lot to talk about. We've got football, of course. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about basketball. We're going to talk about the virus. We're going to talk about everything that needs to be mentioned. We're afraid to mention people's names related to the virus, and of course we heard a good friend of mine's wife died yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And that hurts, and that's three wonderful ladies I know from right here in Troy that have lost their lives due to the COVID.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully we're going to get this virus vaccination out there, and we're going to make some things happen and slow this thing down and then get rid of it, you know. But what good is the virus or the vaccination if you can't get it, you know? And, of course, people talk about, you know, this nation can do anything. This nation can, believe it or not, put a man on the moon. It seems like if they could put a man on the moon, they could get this virus out to the people that need to have it.
Does the second dose, is it the exact as the first one, or is it a different dose? Is it the same shot?
I don't know, but you have to wait 28 days or something like that, and for the second shot. And I don't want to get involved in it. Anything we don't know, but you know, we read this information, and most of it comes out of John Hopkins Medical Center, and it's supposed to be the leading medical facility in the country. That's where most of the information is coming from.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, John Hopkins. What you got this morning to let us know about?
Well, a couple of things. The Heisman Trophy will be presented tomorrow night via teleconference or Zoom, and our finalists are Devontae Smith, Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, and Trevor Lawrence. And Alabama had 3 quality showings by their players. And Najee Harris finished 5th. But
Trish had wonderful stats. He threw for 41 touchdown passes, but he looked like a second teamer the other night in the game.
Well, he lost his receiving core.
It looked like the fix was on. It looked like he had made some agreement with somebody out in Vegas. Some of those throws he was making, that was pretty horrible quarterback.
Well, I know, but that's not our opinion. I think he just had a bad day, I feel like a lot of pressure was on him. I feel like he had a lot of pressure on him pertaining to the Heisman.
The votes were already in, Dad. He had no pressure on him. He had no receivers to throw to. All these guys opting out of the bowl game. I mean, I don't know what you can do. North Carolina, I mean, they were phenomenal against A&M the other night, and they're telling you the whole game 5 starters aren't even playing. Georgia, 10 guys opted out for Georgia against Cincinnati. They kicked a 53-yard field goal just to win the game.
Yep.
I mean, it's scary, the amount of guys that don't play in these bowl games now.
Yeah. Mac Jones, I believe, was 25 of 30 for 297 yards, 4 touchdowns. Najee Harris, 15 carries, 125 yards. And
how about
Smith,
that one run will
it'll
be on air for the next 100 years.
The cover of Sports Illustrated, we hope.
Boy, that was
and
he
then,
not only jumped over him, he flew over him, and for him, he didn't even break stride. Once he hit, he didn't break stride. It's a wonder he hadn't scored. It's going to be a highlight film that'll be watched for a long
I think
time.
that guy's about 6'4", the guy he jumped over.
What are that's a good question today. What is this?
He's done that all season, though. That's not the first guy you've heard of.
That's going to be fun this morning to come up with what we think that's the most outstanding plays ever made in football, and that will be one. It's going to go down in one. Name me some more. One of them would be Flutie's long touchdown pass on the last play of the game. You remember that one?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about one of them.
And he threw it to his roommate. Yeah, what else?
I don't want to talk about the kick.
Stanford's always one of the greatest games ever.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. And there was you've seen people do that. I've seen it work twice. And one time it worked against DeBose. Mike DeBose coaching over at Millsaps.
That's right, it sure did.
And they did that. A team did that against Mike DeBose, and they won the ball game.
I saw that. I remember that.
But the one that's so famous is the one where Stanford did it and ran through the band, ran over that. Hey, they ought to give some recognition to that guy in the band that he ran over.
Right.
But that's another highlight film. We're talking about highlight films and Harris's jump over.
Your favorite place to kick 6. You narrate that all the time.
Oh, kick 6. Hey, Auburn's gonna win the football game. Auburn's gonna win the football game on the kick 6. But I was also there on Bama punt too, and I was in that game where Auburn blocked 2 consecutive kicks, and the same guy blocked it, the same guy picked it up and ran for a touchdown. Can you tell me the guy that ran for the touchdown? I'll buy you a cup of coffee this morning from McDonald's.
Well, Langner blocked the kick.
All right, Langner blocked the kicks, and who's
was it a Hundley?
Wait a minute.
No.
Langner didn't block the kick. Langner did not block the kick. He picked up the fumble. Who blocked the kick?
Who missed the block?
Well, I'll tell you who the kicker was. The kicker was Gant.
Some guy from Fayette, wasn't it?
Yes, he was from Fayette. You're right. His name was Newton. Bill Newton from Fayette, Alabama, blocked 2 consecutive kicks. Alabama was leading late in the ball game, 16-7, to let's see, it was 16 to 13. Wait a minute. Alabama was leading that ball game.
16 to 3.
When they started doing it, it was 16 to 3. Yeah, that's right, 16 to 3. And they blocked one kick, and the people ran for a touchdown. I can still hear the guy commentating because I was listening to it on the radio while I was watching the game at Legion Field. And then he came back late in the quarter, and the same snap, same two-step kick, and that could have stopped that two-step kick. And Gant was the kicker, and he gave up 2 consecutive blocks. Alabama's defense was so good that year that Alabama, one of those guys could have fell down at the 1 yard line. They probably wouldn't have scored, but they did, and it was probably the most visible playback of any Auburn game that I can ever think of. And of course, that Alabama-Auburn game was known as kick, Bama kick, and then of course they ran the field goal attempt where Saban thought his guy could kick a 60-yard field goal. Was it 60 or how many yards was it, Mike, that he had to kick?
It was 57.
57 years old. 57 yards. I would have told you he couldn't have made it. When you had said the same thing?
Well, you think he's going to kick it at least out of the end zone. You don't think he's going to.
Well, see, I didn't think he had the leg to kick it that far, though. You're right. And
he kicked 55, 60 yarders in practice all the time. They said.
Yeah.
Well, he was the second string kicker. This guy was not the first string kicker, and he was scared to death. You know, he had to be scared to death. Well, the guy that made the biggest play in that situation where what he did, he ran back the field goal. It was short, and he decided to run it back. They didn't even put anybody back there until the guy with Troy ties told him to do it, and it was the smartest move he ever made.
What is it, Scott Fountain?
Scott Fountain.
That's right.
Whose brother coached here.
And he's at Arkansas now.
Yeah, Scott is, and his brother was a dear friend of mine. They coached here at Charles Henderson High School, and he said, "Coach, well, why don't we put somebody back there just in case?" and what turned out to be the huge play for Auburn, they call it what they call it.
The kick. I don't know.
Kick
six.
It's called a kick six.
Kick six. The kick six. The key to the whole thing was, and nobody really realized this. I don't think Fountain realized it or not. There was only one guy that could run a 4.8 40. Well, there was one guy maybe could run a 4.8 40 or 4.9 40 in the game. Rest of them were big old linemen. And I believe the holder was the only guy that could have possibly caught him. Is that right? Rest of them were linemen that were blocking for the kick.
He was a punter, though.
Yeah, okay.
And he had the angle on the sideline. All he had to do was knock him out of bounds.
Yeah, yeah.
You see him pushing him, and you think he's going to knock him out of bounds. He doesn't even come close. And the late, great Auburn kick broadcaster will forever be, what a great job he did. Auburn's going to win the game. Not only have we run this thing back, but Auburn is going to win the football game. That's going to be thrown in Alabama faces for years to come. How about the Auburn fans that had ashes in their purses or pockets to dump on the field after the game?
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, they found 2 separate urns of ashes on the field after the game to celebrate.
Well, when I was there to watch, I shouldn't say this, but I am. When the first thing I did, first of all, I sat there just stunned at Legion Field. I was at the game by myself, and but after the game I was going to go over to Buck Corley's house. He was a young banker. He and Jane were living in Birmingham, and they said I did this. That I did knock on the door. I opened the door and slammed the door, and they had some friends there. We've been watching the ball game. They've been enjoying all the great things about eating and drinking and having a big time, and they were all Alabama fans. And I said, when I opened the door, I said, Jesus Christ was on Auburn's beach today. Believe it. Don't ever not believe it. Somebody called it Santa Claus, but it was like, that was how in the world that could happen 2 times in a row. and I can hear the voice of the Auburn Tigers. What's his name, Mike? Long-time announcer. Living in, you know,
I don't know who.
But I could hear it say, Langner, the kick is blocked. Langner's going to pick it up, and he's going to go all the way for a touchdown. And he did it 2 times in a row, just like that. And of course, Alabama the score was 16-3. The quarterback for that Auburn team, and all he did was hand off pretty much, but he was a good quarterback. Randy Walls
from Brundage, Alabama.
And they didn't move the ball at all on offense. I think they had less than 100 yards rushing in the game.
Yeah.
But hey, the key was a kick. Kick. We're talking about great highlights in football ever. Another one was my buddy when he kicked that 64-yard field goal in New Orleans.
His name was Gary Sanders.
Yeah, Gary Sanders was a play-by-play guy. Did a great job as a play-by-play guy at Auburn for years, and that was really something. We got a call coming in. I'll put you on the hold, Mike. Be right back. Good morning. You're on today in L.A. How you doing?
Will Matthews. Happy New Year.
Will Matthews. Will, did I see your vehicle at the Yellow House this weekend? I saw a couple of cars there. Was that you?
No, it wasn't me.
I was going to wake you up, man. I'd gotten up early, and I was riding down that way, and I noticed the yellow house there, which belongs to your family in Ozark. Isn't that right? The not the Matthews family, but the what's the name of that house there?
Matthews family. What are you talking about?
No, I just what I meant to say. Well, not. Yeah. No, it's the. What's your family name in Ozark? Not Matthews. What?
My mother was Carol.
Carol, that's what I was saying. Was that one of the Carols? That was your family house that y'all had for years there. Was that right?
Yeah, but no Carols are involved in it.
All right, okay. Well, it would be Matthews then, wouldn't it? Or who would it be?
Yeah, we just call it Sunnyside.
I just know y'all have had that place a long time, and it was right next door to the crow's nest. You know
It was the first house built down there on that beach.
Well, my father-in-law probably built it because he built the crow's nest on the corner there, and he also built the house where the Creases live now. That was what they call the crow's nest behind you.
Yeah.
But I looked in there and I was thinking that you might be there, but I missed out on it.
I spent 2 weeks up north with my grandbabies.
Let me put you on hold and I'll bring you right back. We'll move Mike Amos in here and Will Matthews. Well, got to do this first. There we go. We've got both of them on here. Mike Amos calling in from Grayton Beach, Florida. And Will Matthews just off of a trip.
Is Will going to take Alabama over 77? That's what the over-under is right now.
Oh, man. Golly, I think I'd take the under 77.
No, way over.
Well,
way.
That what now?
They'll score way more than that.
What's the line on the game, Mike?
Alabama's 8.5. Yeah, it'll be
boy, I tell you. I'm going to tell you what, the Ohio State team I saw, especially those big old brutes up front, Alabama's in trouble. I think Ohio State can beat them. I really do. Because they've got a running back that can fly, and he got almost 200 yards. And then they got a guy that can throw a football, and they got the big fronts. They got a huge front, I think, that could negate a lot of what Alabama tries to do.
You know, both Sermon and Justin Fields are from the great state of Georgia.
Better be able to cover some tight ends. They got a lot of great tight ends. I know that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, I jump all over the 8.5, and I think I jump all over the 77 under the 77. As your parlay right there, take Ohio State plus 8.5 and under 77. Go 2, 2, and 2. 2, 2, and 2. You win $950.
That's what they build those big hotels in Las Vegas.
That's right, exactly. That 2, 2, and 2
Mike, I'll tell you what you're like. You're like somebody that saw Well, the Chargers are favored by 5 points over Kansas City in Kansas City, and the Chargers hadn't won but 3 or 4 games all year. And Kansas City hadn't lost but 1 game. That's a lot. Well, guess what? They beat the crap out of them.
They beat them yesterday. Let's don't use that word if we can help it.
They did.
I know it, but was that yesterday? They beat Kansas City. But man, the quarterback didn't play though, did he?
Of course not. They don't play there when they.
Well, that had a lot to do with it.
Of course it did. You know.
But
these
you know.
Locked in. They don't play their 2 players, but everybody Joe doesn't know that. They just see, oh wow,
that's right. Well, I tell you, it was funny. My man Brady, though, bless his heart, he's so good it stinks, and it's unreal what a great game he played yesterday. And they kept him in there the entire ball game. I was saying to myself, in a minute somebody's going to come in there with a sledgehammer and hit him in the back of the head. Some of those forearms are sort of like sledgehammers, and they would be out of the playoffs. What?
Nobody touched him all day.
I know it. And what I can't understand, what is he doing in there with the game was on, and they really kept trying to score. It looked like to me.
Probably trying to get their timing down for all the.
What about Derrick Henry rushing for 250 yards? He went over 2,000 yards for the season yesterday.
He went
only 8 running backs.
34 carries. 34 carries.
I know one of them was.
Derrick Henry is a beast.
Yeah, he's fast. I tell you, Alabama's got a great one though, and I tell you what, if he doesn't go in the first round, somebody's wrong. He ought to be the first back pick. Talking about Harris. And
Mike, he may be the first back pick and not be in the first round because the NFL does not draft running backs because usually they don't last 3 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
Their life expectancy is not that great. We were talking about the great play Harris made leaping over that guy. Now let me tell you this: back in the old days, the high jump they either scissored it. That means running and putting one leg over and the other leg over. That was called the scissors. And then the other was a
flop.
The flop came later. The other one was a roll, where they came up and they rolled one leg over and the other. So you had a roll. And then later on, they had a guy named Fosberry, and he invented the Fosberry Flop, which was your head would go over first, and then your legs would go behind you. You see what I mean?
I couldn't do
but
that.
let me tell you this: as far as a giant leap, and if they were in the Olympics where they had a straddle for a championship, he would be Olympic. He'd have a chance to win an Olympic gold medal because he went. How high do you think he was up off the ground? At least 6 foot, maybe 7 feet, don't you think?
Well, the guy
somebody could actually tape him. Could tape at his highest leap and on that play, I bet it would be well over 6 feet.
Well, the defensive back was trying to hit him low and tackle him, and he.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to use the word. Maybe I don't know. It would be not in good taste, but he's going to get D blanked if he don't watch it out because that's somebody going to really try to get him. Next time they try to leap over him. Boy, what a play. What a great play. We're talking this morning, Will, of course, about the game, and y'all have already brought it up. Let me tell you, this is a well-coached, well-disciplined Ohio State team. But what impressed me so much about them was their front. Oh, gosh, their defensive front are monsters. What do you think, Will?
How good do you think the ACC is now, though, is what I think this might tell you.
Well, you know. What do you think?
ACC was perfect. They didn't win a game.
They were perfect. The ACC was perfect this year.
Yeah, I know it.
They didn't win a game. They're 0-6. That's right.
And I never could figure this North Carolina quarterback. He looked wonderful a couple of plays, and he looked stupid and crazy and terrible on some other plays. I mean, I think he wanted to be a hero the times he tried to run out of the pocket. How many times do you remember him running out of the pocket and they just slam him down behind the line? You know, he was trying to be a hero, and that's why they said for the game. I said, what are they talking about? They said this quarterback's got to just play the game and get the job done and not try to do it himself. And they talked about that in the first quarter, and then the more I watched the game, I said, now I know what they're talking about. He made some big plays, but he made some horrible plays too. You know, he was not consistent.
Mike, if Kelly Mond comes back, I don't know if he will or not, but if he comes back, Texas A&M be in the playoffs next year.
But you know what? And you know something about them, they were so conservative. They never got in a hurry to do anything. In fact, they waited the whole 30 or 40 seconds before they snapped it. And I kept saying, golly, this is laid back. And, and North Carolina was moving the ball up and down the field. And it took about a half for Texas A&M to realize what they were doing. And then they just, started clicking. And they of course, they're very good on defense. And you talking about a miracle backdoor cover, Will. That was a miracle cover by A&M. They scored 24 points in the fourth quarter. Oh, I talked to a guy last night, and he said, "Man, hey, y'all kill me. I said, "Who is y'all?" He said, "You guys that took A&M because you had a game one. It seemed like." No, A&M scored a meaningless touchdown with about a minute 30 seconds left. I know. They scored on a 75-yard touchdown late in the fourth quarter to go up by 7, and then, North Carolina made the right call. It was 4th and 2 from about their 28, 30-yard line, and they went for it and didn't make it. And A&M had another long run, and next thing you know, they scored a touchdown and win by 14. Boy, this little running back, and he hadn't even played all year. Number 28 played most of the year, but this guy looked like a superstar, and he really was. And he and that number 8, that running back for Ohio State, and somebody told me that he was a transfer from Oklahoma. Yes. What if you had put that guy in the Oklahoma backfield? Boy, how good would they be?
Will he go pro?
They had great running backs already.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, but
listen, Michael is right about the A&M game, but in reality, they go for 4th down on their own 25-yard line and don't get it. A&M's going to kick a field goal and cover the spread.
I agree.
The worst one of all of them was Notre Dame scoring with under a minute.
that was another one. Hey, you know what? You're exactly right. It took half the tempo away from the whole ball game. When Alabama fans saw that they're not going to win the money. You're exactly right.
I thought Devontae Smith on that onside kick. He hit him right in the hands at the end of the game. He just dropped it.
You're exactly right.
They're about to score another touchdown at the end of the game. A lot of guys could have got hurt.
Yeah.
Thinking that game
Devontae Smith, you're exactly. Everybody talks about his great hands. That was I think I could have caught that ball. It was easy. Right up at his waist.
Yeah, he dropped one during the game.
Do you believe that game, the final of that score, that game would have been 31-21, and people all over the country would have thought that would have been a great game?
Yeah, exactly right. No question about it. Of course, Alabama did not win the money. The line was 20 points, and of course the Texas A&M line was about 10. It was 10, and you're right. What did you say?
No, I saw it in Vegas, Will.
No, it was at 10 where I heard. It was on scores and odds of 10. Yeah. That's what I thought.
What about the Mississippi State brawl?
Oh, man. I'll tell you one thing, and I learned a long time ago, Will, and I was sort of a hothead sometimes, especially on the football field. If somebody whipped me, it made me mad, and I got whipped a lot, so I wanted to fight. But the last thing in the world that I would do if I was going to fight on the football field was take my helmet off. That's the last thing you do. I've seen these people in the past rip off their helmets, they come in their flag, and that guy gets him down and just beats him to a pulp because he doesn't have his helmet on. But that was a terrible incident. It looked like to me a coach started that thing. What do you think?
Well, your coach wouldn't let you come out of the locker room before the game looking and acting like that, number one. Two, when you do make a block on an onside kick, you know the guy's hurting on the ground, you have a player standing over him, taunting him, hey, look at me, I just knocked the stew out of you. And then after the game, when they came and met, you know, a non-player, I mean a player in his street clothes through the first
That's
punch.
right, what he looked like. And,
that's what it looked to me like. Of course, it was sickening.
Yeah. And another highlight that you're going to always remember. This is going to be fun, these highlights. Will, have you ever seen anybody run from the water as much as Jimbo was? It was like it had arsenic in the water or something. I don't know what the deal was. But he ran for his life. And one of the guys, commentators, asked him, said, "Will, Jimbo, have you ever run that fast in your life?" And he said, "Oh, one ball game I did." Something like that. You know, he played at Samford University. He played right here in Troy, and we beat him on a last-second field kick return. You remember that, Mike?
Yeah, I thought we blew him out that game.
No, we didn't blow Jimbo out. They were good. And, you know, their kicker was the O'Neill kid from Birmingham, who was from Troy. That was a good deal of O'Neill's grandson kicking.
David O'Neill.
That's right. And that was Jimbo. I thought that was unreal. And the guy asked him, he said, "Why were you running so hard away from water?" He said, "That's, you know, coaches get doused all the time." He said, "Well, I knew I had to be on TV, and I didn't want to." You know, that's him talking just like this. Yeah, I was going to be on TV, and I didn't want to look bad. That's what
he could talk fast.
You know what the difference is between Texas and Auburn?
Hook 'em horn or what?
No, when Texas fired their coach, they already had a coach hired.
They sure did.
Auburn just fired their coach. They didn't have nobody in mind, and it surely wasn't the Boise guy in mind. But Texas A&M, Texas, they'd already gotten Sarkisian's agent. I'll guarantee you before they let Tom Herman go, they already had him locked in.
But you know what? And of course, he's a great coach. He's a great coach. But I believe if they had waited till after the ball game, they would have looked toward Ole Miss on their coach. Hey, he did a heck of a job to win that ball game.
Well, Ole Miss just feathered his nest big time.
They sure did.
He got a huge raise.
Isn't it amazing what one game can do? And people are so impressed with. You know what I was impressed about Ole Miss? And I would have never said this, Mike, is how physical they were. I thought they were really physical in that ball game against a Big Ten team that feels like they're a big bad team.
They finished 5-5.
That's right.
Their only loss to Indiana was the 7 to Ohio State. Of course, they had their great quarterback.
Yeah. Now, who was there? This guy Tittle, and there was a great Hall of Famer at one time. Played with New York Giants named Y.A. Tittle, and also played for San Francisco too. Y.A. Tittle. This kid's last name was Tittle. Was he the starter or was he a backup?
No, he was the backup. Their starter got hurt.
So their starter would have made the big difference. Is that right?
I mean, you would think so.
Well, I tell you, it was really.
You want to give a recap of all the games we missed?
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. I tell you what, let's do though. Let's go on a break. And we'll be right back. We'll let you know when we get back, Mike. After you go over all these games, we're going to tell you who won the battle of the pickers, and who wins dinner for two, or dinner gift certificate from B. Graves. We'll be back.
No money down. Woo! No money down. And payments as low as $199 a month. That's right. No money down. And $199 a month. Wholesale pricing. With no money down. And $199 a month. Online at PremierTrade.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Know-how, Napa Know-how. At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
No money down. No money down. And payments as low as $199 a month. That's right. No money down and $199 a month. Wholesale pricing with no money down and $199 a month. Online at PremierTrade.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Of the day, I knew Tampa was going to blow out Atlanta. Atlanta didn't. They could care less. I mean, the game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, and what I can't understand is why do they? The guy was a great college quarterback, and he's thrown for the numbers at Atlanta. But why don't they get another quarterback? He's a proven non-winner.
No, Mike. They don't have a defense. That's their problem.
Well, I can't understand what their problem is.
Atlanta scores a lot of points. You got to stop the other team sometimes. I mean, you know, you can't. Julio didn't play the whole year. He got played 7 or 8 games. Julio's been hurt the whole year.
Yeah, I tell you, he's pretty, but I don't know how good he's going to be in the pros. I thought he was bigger. He looks real small.
Julio's a Hall of Famer. What are you talking about?
You think he'll be a Hall of Famer in the pros?
Oh, yeah. Julio Jones?
No, not Julio Jones. I was thinking about
Calvin Ridley.
He's talking about Tua.
That's who I think about Tua. I didn't hear who y'all said who were talking about.
Tua's a rookie. I mean, you got to give him a break there.
And you know, receivers have a lot to do with it.
Alabama had better receivers than the Dolphins. Dolphins receivers are awful.
Yeah.
That's true.
Of course, we're going to get to it as the week goes on, but it's a lot of things that, as far as matchups go, Ohio State, it's almost scary. Their matchups are so good.
Hey, Will, before we go with the picks, I think Mike's going to do that in a minute, but Charles Henderson had a graduate by the name of Corey Dennis who went to Georgia Tech. He played defensive back, a little bit of receiver. Well, while he was there, he met a girl named Nikki Meyer.
At Tech.
At Georgia Tech. That's Urban's daughter. Well, then he went to Ohio State as a intern, then a graduate assistant, then he got upgraded to a senior quality control. Now he's the quarterback coach at Ohio State. Right. And he's got praise from the head coach, Ryan Day. He's got praise from Joe Burrow. He's got praises from Dwayne Haskins, and Justin Fields has given him a lot of positive.
He's the quarterback coach?
He's the quarterback's coach at Ohio State, Corey Dennis.
Now let me tell you one other thing. He's got a son, and his son's name is Troy.
And another son, Gray.
Of course, his dad was athletic director here at Troy for so many years. Great people, great family. He's another one that grew up swimming in my pool. I told him, I said there won't be a lifeguard there all the time. He said, no, don't you worry, Mr. Ivins. All I want to do is cool off after I mow grass. he mowed a lot of grass, and he'd go jumping, which I've done many times too. After on a hot summer day when he'd go jump in the pool and get that after mowing grass.
Right.
All right, Mike, tell us about it.
All right, these are the games I guess we didn't get a chance to talk about. Oklahoma State beat Miami 37-34. That game was the Cheez-It Bowl.
And that quarterback for Miami tore his knee up, and it could be a career deal. It's really sad.
Yeah, De'Aaron King. Yeah, Texas and Tom Herman, they looked great against Colorado. They beat Colorado 55-23. A lot of that was with the backup quarterback. Ellinger got hurt.
He's going pro. That's what he said.
Another game that was interesting to watch, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which is my favorite mayonnaise.
I love it. It's my favorite too, especially with a banana sandwich. It's the best mayonnaise.
Wake Forest gets up 14-0 and gets beat 42-28. So Wisconsin won that game. And then, not shocked by this, Florida gets beat 55-20 by Oklahoma. Florida had all their great players opt out on offense.
But you know, though, let me tell you this. You're right. All these guys have gone on offense. But where on earth was the defense? They were terrible. How they tackle and everything. Did you notice that? Those guys didn't want to play. I'm telling you, it was terrible. That's going to hurt their program. That game's going to stay with their program for a while.
And then a huge win by Mike Leach. Mississippi State beat Tulsa 28-26. They had only won 3 games.
And where's the great running back that scored? He went over 400 yards. What's the guy's name?
That guy played for Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo. Okay, what was the great?
Tulsa went down the wire with Cincinnati in the conference championship game, and they had a really good team. They beat Central Florida and some other good teams. I was surprised they beat Mississippi. Mississippi State beat them.
I didn't think their quarterback was that good. He was supposed to have been real good.
Another shocking game was Ball State beat San Jose State, who was undefeated.
That one really surprised me. Ball State, where do they? Of course, they're out of the MAC. Where do they get all those players that could run? Usually they couldn't run, you know.
Then Phil Brown made a great decision. I watched this whole game against Army. He brought in his backup quarterback, his first-string quarterback, Dagey, pretty much tried to give the game away through a horrible interception and fumbled the ball inside the 10 and gave Army at least 10 points. And he brought in a backup who hadn't played all year, Austin Kendall, who was a starter last year, and they came back and beat Army 24-20.
And he hadn't played the whole year, pretty much.
He played only, I think he threw 5 balls in one game. That's it.
Oh boy.
But Neil Brown goes 6-4 in his second year at West Virginia, so he's turning that program around.
And I tell you what, I tell you something else about him, and I never noticed that much about him when he was here at Troy. He looks he's a good-looking guy, and he presents himself very well with the media and stuff. He's gonna be. You're right. He's gonna be a big-time coach.
He won a national award for his service, community service,
really?
that was announced over the weekend.
Okay.
I watched a lot of this game. A heartbreak city for Cincinnati. I mean, they pretty much all they need to do is get a 4th down. Kirby Smart punted the ball with 2 minutes and I think about 56 seconds left from about the 43-yard line of Georgia. Instead of going for a 4th and 3, punts it away, counting that his defense will stop him. And they got the ball back with 1 minute left, under 1 minute left, and got in field goal range. They kicked a 53-yarder to win it. And then they had 2 seconds left and got a safety late to win 24-21. And Cincinnati played about as good as they possibly could have played. Heartbreaking loss for their fan base.
Let me tell you, I was far, and I really felt like that Cincinnati was going to win the game. But I tell you what, Georgia might be as good against the run as anybody in the nation. I mean, they stopped Cincinnati. They could not run the football, and that's what killed them, I think.
And Georgia had at least 10 players opt out of that game.
Oh,
That
man.
tells you how much talent and depth. Of course, we hadn't even talked about this game. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Will.
Georgia was very short-handed in that game.
Isn't that amazing? I was not really that impressed with the quarterback at Georgia. Everybody talks about how good he is. I don't think he can win the big ball games for them. I really don't.
He hadn't lost a game.
I know it. Yeah. He was, and he won that one by a hair on his chinny chin chin. You ever heard that saying before?
Big Red Bull, Little Red Riding Hood.
Auburn falls to Northwestern. Auburn's offense.
Auburn was terrible.
Horrible to start the game, and then Kevin Steele's defense didn't play great. I don't know if Steele will be back as defense coordinator. You know, Auburn had some guys opt out. Bo Nix gets hurt late in the game. I don't know if Forrest or Will, if y'all know his status, if he got hurt really bad or not. But
Hadn't heard.
Western wins easily, 35-19.
Well, let me tell you this.
Didn't play either.
Let me tell y'all something real quick. It ought to be against the law for nobody. Now, y'all might have known. I had no idea the great running back at Auburn was not going to play. If I had known he was not going to play, no question in the world I would have taken Auburn. But with the great freshman running back, Auburn's a completely different team.
You need to start calling your son. I read articles before games, and I told you he wasn't going to play.
Oh, I tell you what, and of course, what do they call him?
Tank Bigsby.
Tank, Tank. If Tank would have played, it'd been a different game, don't you think? Auburn did not have a decent running back at all.
Callaway High School, LaGrange, Georgia. That's where he's from.
And guess who this kid number 4? His name was Ford. What do you think about him? Former Alabama player.
I like that Northwestern's coach wore shorts during the game. Pat Fitzgerald. That was awesome.
Oh, did you? Who is the running back that played that signed with Alabama that played for? Maybe he did play.
His name was named Jerome Ford. He was like a 4th-string running back at Alabama.
And who does he play for now?
He went 80 yards on that touchdown for Cincinnati.
Yeah, for Cincinnati. Okay. And he was fast. I know that.
Yeah, what does Auburn do for quarterback next year? Do you think Hartson brings in his own guy?
I sure would. I sure would. I am not high on Bo Nix. I'm not high on him at all. He's maybe a good middle of the road college quarterback. That's it. The way I look at him. I don't think he's a drop back guy. He's got too happy of feet. Don't y'all agree?
Well,
he doesn't stay in the pocket at all.
Now, one reason
greedy.
might be that Auburn can't block anybody too. I don't know.
He's real
You
greedy.
had Alabama beat Notre Dame 31-14. Ohio State destroyed Clemson 49-28. I love how Herbstreit and Fowler kept on saying Clemson's got to get it together. There's still a chance here in the fourth quarter. They're down by 21 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
Herbstreit won himself, Mike. He's actually under quarantine right now.
Michael, they were trying to keep people from turning the TV off to another channel. Is what they were doing.
I know.
I guess so. I mean, Fields takes that hit in the ribs, and they call targeting on a starting linebacker, and he's out of the game.
That was big too.
Kevin Turner's son didn't play safety the first half because he was out because of targeting, but I don't think that would have made a difference. I mean, I think if you watch Clemson enough this year, that wasn't a great defense.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right now too, and Will, I think, would agree with me. He lost that Heisman game. The quarterback was not that very good at all. I know he was missing some folks, but hey, he did not play very well. I didn't think.
Mike, he didn't lose the Heisman. The Heisman's already been voted on, and they already got it calculated way before that game.
But do we know for sure who it is then? Everything.
It'll be announced
It's either
tomorrow night.
But
or Mac Jones. One of the other is.
Well, let's just say this: the Clemson quarterback did not play up to snuff. It didn't look like to me.
I think Dante's going to get it.
Clemson talent-wise is near as good as that team that blew out Alabama. I mean, that defensive front for Clemson that beat Alabama had 3 guys go in the first round.
Yeah, that's right.
And they had athlete after athlete. Davo's got to do a little bit of better job.
And then the great running back looked like he was not interested in what was going on much. I think he lost stock. I think the quarterback lost a little stock too. I'm sure he'd probably go first round to somebody, but he sure.
Oh, he'll be the first pick for the Jaguars.
Yeah, that running back's from Louisiana as well.
Yeah.
Etienne.
They say that the head coach of the Jaguars is going to be Urban Meyer. That he wants to be a pro coach now.
Well, hey, he's a good coach. I know that. No question about it. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this show is brought to you.
You got a few more games.
All right, go ahead.
Hear those. You had Kentucky.
Somebody's rattling around too much. Hold on.
That's not me.
All right, Will, are you trying to get some coffee and an egg biscuit this morning?
That's not me. That's not me. Kentucky beats NC State 23-21.
And before you leave that, what a great tribute to Slarmer. And he was a great guy.
I had tears in my eyes watching that. That was a teary eye. I mean,
anybody that knew him when he was in Troy, and he loved Troy. Did you know he loved Troy? He was here for about 6 years. He's an excellent coach, but more than anything, a wonderful man. Just a great, great man. And I know the Troy staff and the Kentucky staff and the West Virginia staff, all of them had to be deeply hurt by that. And bless his heart. His players loved him, and they played for him, and they won the ball game for him. That was let me tell you this. At first, I didn't know exactly what they were talking about when they were talking about how Kentucky couldn't throw the ball. Our high school quarterback out here could have thrown the ball better than this guy. He could not throw the football.
Yeah, Terry Wilson's one of the worst quarterbacks ever to win 10 games in the NCAA history.
And he had a chance to put the game away, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah, that was really unbelievable. They even beat NC State. NC State was 8-3 going into that game.
Yeah.
They played for Slumber. Hey, those linemen won for Slumber, and they ran the football. Let me tell you this. That number 24, Rodriguez, and that number 10, I'll take those two running backs any day of the week.
Ole Miss is an 8-point underdog. Comes in and beats Indiana. Actually, was leading the whole game. Beats Indiana. It's a huge win for Kiffin, and then blowout city here. Iowa State just dominated Oregon. I don't know if y'all watched any of that, but man, that game wasn't even close. Oregon out of the Pac-12 shows that the Pac-12 champion was not very good. And then A&M beats North Carolina 41-27.
That was a game that was very close down to the wire, and like you said, offensively, I thought that North Carolina was a really a better team than A&M offensively. But
they had two starting running backs didn't play, and two starting wide receivers didn't play. I mean, that kind of tells you what kind of talent they have.
What you mean, North Carolina?
Yeah, they opted out, didn't play the game.
Well, you know what? They went the pretty uniform. They were the prettiest guys out there.
It's going to be a heck of a game.
And my favorite helmet. What is your favorite helmet of all the bowl games? What's your favorite helmet?
Favorite helmet?
Yeah, don't you notice helmets?
I mean, I'm a huge.
Didn't you notice North Carolina State's helmet? Didn't you like that helmet?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Ohio State helmet.
Did you notice the North Carolina State helmet?
I did.
Oh man, that was a good looking helmet. And of course Notre Dame's got a beautiful gold. I don't know if they've got.
That's too gold for me.
Yeah, it is gold, isn't it?
We need to mention basketball too. Alabama went on the road and beat number 7 undefeated Tennessee in basketball too. So
they hit a bunch of 3-point plays, Mike. That was just unreal how well they shot.
Yeah, Troy State men split with Appalachian State. They won the first game by 14 or by 10, and then lost by 31 the second game.
They played back-to-back games, and isn't that amazing how you can win?
How in the world do you lose by 31 after you beat a team by 16?
Yeah. And then the women lost in Appalachian State. And then the women lost the first game against Appalachian State by 12, 78-66, and then they won the second game by 20, 85-65.
Troy won the second game?
The women. Yeah. And the men will host Georgia State this weekend, 2 games Friday and 1 on Saturday. And the women will travel to Georgia State.
Oh, boy.
And they'll play on Friday, and then they'll turn around and play on Saturday.
Back-to-back games.
Back-to-back games.
This tells you the Sun Belt has no money in basketball compared to like an SEC where they're playing like their normal regular schedule. That means every single time they go on the road, they have to play an Eastern team twice to save money, I guess, for that other team not to have to travel.
All right, Will.
You're going to play 2 games each time on the weekend.
Yeah. Will, I want to ask you this. Of course, you're the one to ask in this situation. What would a general admission ticket or a ticket to the national championship game in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, how much would it be? Just a basic.
This year, they're only selling like 20,000 tickets.
Okay, and
I would think it probably run about the face value is going to be about $850 probably.
$850.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now, and the SEC is going to get most of this money too, are they? Or ESPN? I mean.
TV's paying for all.
Yeah.
The conference will get about 10 or 15 million probably out of it.
Yeah. And at the end of the year, when they divide the money up, it'll still be a pretty big year for the SEC. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Of course, what is your early feeling about this game.
The complete opposite of what you're feeling. I think Alabama will blow them out, and it's going to be.
Oh God!
Alabama will score close to 60.
Oh really? Who's going to?
I'm going to say it's going to be 56-42, something like that.
Wow.
Let me tell you why I think Ohio State will play so well is that they'll be balanced. They'll be able to run the football and they'll be able to throw it. That's why I look at that. You got to be balanced to have a chance against Alabama. And even up front, I mentioned before the game, or the Notre Dame game, that Notre Dame would play much better up front than anybody else had been playing against Alabama, and it pretty much was right. Mm-hmm. They were strong, physical. Alabama's balance is the reason they won the ball game.
Yeah, that Trey Sermon.
Sarkisian's play calling, of course, we know now they fought on the mod, was very, vanilla against Notre Dame. I think once they got up by 2 touchdowns,
conservative,
he didn't try to throw the ball downfield. He didn't try to mix it up. He running naughty, just straight up the gut. I don't know if you watched.
Hey, it's dark in here.
I told my wife, this isn't the same offense I've watched all year. They weren't trying to just make big play after big play. It was kind of just conservative.
The second half, you could tell our quarterback was a little bit disgusted, a little bit on some things. There were some drop passes and a few other things that happened. And I tell you, Alabama, I think they're going to have their hands full. I don't get me wrong, I want Alabama to win the football game, but this is going to be a real matchup between two good teams, it looks like. You just cannot help, though, but look at Ohio State's offensive and defensive line, and they're strong.
Very strong. Well, that running back, Trey Sermon, 193 yards rushing, 61 receiving.
The week before, he gained 330 yards.
That's right.
This guy can fly. He can fly.
Northwestern's got a good defense, too, but look how fresh Ohio State is. They played 7 games. Alabama's played 12 games.
Yeah.
They're kind of just hitting their stride. They don't have the bruises and the soreness, and they haven't been beat up like Alabama has playing 12 games.
I'll tell you right now, and I wouldn't have told you, I would have said different probably a couple of weeks ago, but Auburn's in trouble. I think Auburn needs to run everybody off, and this guy hire his own people to do the job. Maybe a recruiter here and a recruiter there, you ought to keep them, but get rid of the rest of the folks. What do you think they'll do, Will?
Well, I know Kevin Steele's gone, but you know, Auburn's going to have to pay him $5 million.
Oh gosh, are you serious?
He's got a guaranteed contract for 2 more years, $2.5 million.
Yeah, he's the guy that I tell the story about. He was in a staff meeting at Alabama, and he got up and left. And later on, Saban went outside the door and said, "What are you doing leaving my meeting?" He said, "Well, I thought if I'd stayed in there, if I stayed in there, I'd had to fight you." He would get chewed out that bad.
They're great friends, though.
I'm sure they are.
Several conferences before, and they hang out and talk all the time.
Yeah.
They're still very close.
Yeah.
He may end up in Alabama, Mike.
Hey, you're exactly right. But what would we? No telling what they would pay him.
Where's Muschamp going?
Coordinator.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll tell you right now too, Clemson hurt by not having their offensive play caller to not be able to play, not be able to coach the game. I think that hurt Clemson. Don't you?
Yeah,
maybe a touch.
He had COVID. He couldn't go.
Isn't it amazing how Dabo went from being a superstar to just an ordinary coach right now? Right now, I think he's just a rah-rah ordinary coach.
No, he's still a great coach.
I think he's a rah-rah guy.
They'll be there again next year.
Yeah, they don't play anybody in the ACC.
Right now, this is a great question right here. If you had a chance to take either Dabo or Jimbo, either to take Dabo or Jimbo, which one would you take?
I'd take Dabo in a heartbeat.
Would you really?
He's great. Yeah, he's a better recruit. He's a better recruit.
I don't know. Listen, I was sort of down on Jimbo for a while until I watched this year's team. he did a heck of a job getting his team back ready to play after getting embarrassed by Alabama. Let me tell you, and he coaches on the field. Have you ever seen the coach have so many things in his hands? I mean, he couldn't be moving. He had, I don't know how many sheets of paper he played. Did you know that?
Right.
He almost needed a podium or something. I've never seen anything like
I guess Bama will travel to A&M next year to Kyle Field, and we'll see if we have fans or not.
That is a great question.
Kellen Mond's going to play in the Senior Bowl, though. You got to think he's going to go.
Yeah, he's gone then.
Yeah, he's gone.
He can come back if he wanted to, though. Everybody can come back.
I thought he was good, but I didn't think he was great in that game by any means.
He's still a really bad thrower of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. You're right. Who's some guys that did jump out at you? That will be a good question. This show is brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass. And I noticed in an advertisement this week they have over 180 vehicles for sale at least that 180 cars and trucks plus are available at rock bottom prices at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks. Remember, nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody. We'll be back. All right, let's get this scoreboard. Let's get our scoreboard.
No money down. Woo! No money down. And payments as low as $199 a month. That's right. No money down. And $199 a month. Wholesale pricing. With no money down. And $199 a month. Online at PremierTrade.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa know-how. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa know-how team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
No money down. Woo! No money down. And payments as low as $199 a month. That's right. No money down. And $199 a month. Wholesale pricing. With no money down. And $199 a month. Online at PremierTrade.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal.
Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody. And, of course, First Citizens Bank of Luverne, one of the great local banks. Will, thank you so much. Will's just coming off a 2-week vacation up in Washington, D.C., and we'll find out more and more about what went on up there. Of course, a big day tomorrow, and that will be the vote. And, of course, a lot of people are concerned about that. Well, we had our contest for the bowl wins, and we've got one more left, and that will be we're gonna get everybody's pick on the Alabama Ohio State game. I think it's one of the best matchups I've seen in a long time. It's going to be a great game. But let's take a look at who won. First of all, I was not in it. I got blown out pretty good, Mike. I would say I went 12-10, and I was looking here at the winners. Mike, you were a little off base in your picks, but that happens sometimes. Is that right?
I have no clue. What was I?
You ended up. Well, I ended up 12-10. And you ended up, let me find out. I got it right here somewhere. We just went over it just a while ago.
He's on the bottom. See him right there?
We're right here.
Mike, see him right there? Keep the other page. See at the top?
Oh, okay, I got you.
Whatever that is.
I got it, yeah, exactly. And that was his breakdown. And in fact, go ahead and take a look at what he did. But, you know, I was looking
there was definitely some upsets.
Yeah,
I don't think I had Kentucky against NC State.
This ain't it.
I definitely didn't have Ole Miss beat Indiana.
Is he on your sheet?
I've got him.
SEC went 6-2, which is very impressive. Only losses so far are Florida and Auburn.
Yeah. Michael, you were 12-10. You were 12-10. And, of course, Cincinnati, like I said, was going to play Georgia off their feet. And, hey, Cincinnati can play with most anybody. They got a hard-nosed football coach, too, no question about it. So watch Cincinnati in the future. Is this quarterback, is he coming back?
Yeah, he's only a junior.
Yeah. You were 12-10, and I was 12-10. Bill Rice came in sizzling, but he went 15-7, and he was tied with Jason Gregory at 15-7. And guess who wins, Mike? Forrest Lee is the winner.
Thank you.
And Forrest wins this year's bowl championship. And now we'll.
What do you go? 16-6.
16-6, and did you ever figure out?
It's so weird. When we do these shows, everybody always picks the same games. I don't ever remember.
But you know, I tell you, one game that turned everybody around was Houston. He lost the Houston game, and you know that was one of the games that a lot of people lost.
Hawaii won that.
I know it. That was surprising to me too that they were able to do that. And then of course I was looking at some of the games that he picked. Of course, everybody picked Clemson to win, and you know we were sure wrong about that, weren't we? And but
I think I might even pick Auburn.
I did.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking, you know, that the running back would play.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know who's going to play till game time.
I think I picked against a lot of SEC teams.
Yeah. Well, I did too, and you know, he ends up 16-6 and wins it, and it's going to be a lot of fun for him if you like good food.
I love good food.
So,
what about the national championship game? As far as the over under, the line 8.5, over under 77. So Alabama could win 36, or like what would that be? Like you could win 40 to 35 and win. Is that right? Yeah.
That's
yeah,
75.
Right.
That's just hard to believe.
What did y'all say it was? 77? Did you say the over-under was 77? Is that right?
Yeah.
And the line is 8.5. Boy, oh boy, I jump all over Ohio State and under 77. That's what I do. All right, and Wednesday on our show.
That is the highest over-under I think I've ever seen in a championship game.
That is really, really something. And see, the reason I think so is because you know, both these teams are going to be good on offense, but you know, somebody's got to play defense, and the one that's going to play a little defense is going to win the game. Yeah. And I was very impressed with how physical Ohio State's front was.
Right. I think defensively for us, the depth at defensive line and our secondary, I think, is the key.
And
of course, interior linemen, we got to be able to stop their running back.
See, that guy is
Fields
really
had a great game.
Other games that were hard to pick. Liberty, Coastal Carolina. I bet a lot of people took Liberty. A lot of people took Coastal. That was a hard game to pick.
I tell you
Oklahoma State, Miami was another hard game to pick.
All right, let me ask you a question before we continue. The quarterback at Liberty played at Auburn, and he transferred. Right now, who would you take, him or Bo Nix? as your quarterback? Who would you rather have?
Man, I don't know. Willis looks pretty good. It would be a toss-up to me.
The guy's name is Willis, who is the quarterback at
His
Liberty.
name's Malik Willis.
And he's going to stay with them, too, I think, isn't he? Isn't he going to stay with them?
Yeah, he's got another year.
He's got another year. But the unreal thing about all of this is everybody's got another year. I mean, Harris could stay at Alabama if he wanted to. And there's several players. You know who's a perfect player that's going to get to come back and play another year is the kid from Prattville, Mike, the safety for Clemson. You know, and it's going to help his.
Yeah, he's from Vestavia Hills.
Yeah, Vestavia Hills, and of course his daddy was a great player at Alabama, and also a pro player who lost his life a few years ago, and a great guy. And what's this guy's name? This kid.
You're talking about Kevin Turner's son, Nolan Turner.
Nolan Turner, Kevin Turner's son, and he played safety and could not play in the first half because of a targeting deal. This targeting deal, and I was watching the game close, and I saw the guy. I read the guy's lips and says, "What else can I do?" They call a charge. I mean, he made a tackle, hit the guy real hard and made the tackle, and instead of getting his neck hugged by all the coaches, heck, they're telling him he's going to have to leave the ball game and they're going to penalize the team 15 yards. I mean, it's the craziest thing in the world, what they think is a targeting. The great linebacker for
Clemson
is that early in that game, you makes a tremendous tackle. You know, sure he butted him with his head, but what are you going to do? You're trying to lock up. You can't help but make contact with a helmet.
Well, one of the arguments I heard is that their running back leads with his helmet a lot of times. When he's about to hit contact, he uses his helmet.
And a lot of them do that way.
Hey, do we have the Wally Sanders show coming on, or what's the deal? Do we got to get off early?
We've got the Wiley Sanders show coming on, I do believe. Steve, what is the situation with the Wiley Sanders Truck Lines show with Mr. Brother Bennett and his crew, and they'll be coming on our show in just a few moments. Brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, one of the great truck lines in America. We appreciate them and their support of our community, and I still marvel at the things that Wiley Sanders has done for our community, and of course Kelly did a wonderful job with Turkeys from Heaven, and so much of giving in Pike County, and they did a wonderful job. Our prayers and our thoughts are going out this morning to a lot of our friends that are facing this terrible virus that we've got, and hopefully that everybody will find time to pray for these individuals and their families as they fight this terrible virus. We're going to take a short break.
It's in Troy, Alabama, worse than any small town I know of. It's unbelievable.
Well, and I think you got to be real careful on what you do, and when you do it. Why take a chance on going to a place where there's going to be a lot of people, because one person could cause a terrible terrible situation, and I just hope that we'll make the right decisions and be responsible, wear your face mask, and be safe.
Let's have a good year.
Yeah, and have a good year, and we'll be back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, for Today in L.A. Have a great day. Wiley Sanders Truck Lines show is next.